Hi students, for today's grammar, we're going to start by learning about the if clauses. There are 3 if clauses that you must know. They're not difficult, but you must focus and get your paper and pencil and write some of the sentences that you see. Copying by writing is a great way for you to improve your English and to learn the information online. Okay, number 1 is very easy. Real if. Real if means what you say after if is possible. It might happen. What will you do if it rains? That means that rain is possible. Will, present tense. If it rains is the condition, I will stay at home is the result. The condition is if it rains because it might rain 50-50. If it rains, I will stay at home. If it rains, I will stay at home, or I will stay home if it rains. So if you start the sentence with if, there's going to be a comma there. But if is in the middle, no comma. If it is hot tomorrow, I will go swimming. That means maybe it will be hot. If it's hot, I will go swimming. If I have enough money, I will go out to eat. That means maybe I have enough money. If I have enough, like $20, I will go out to eat. I will go out to eat if I have enough money, so there's a chance. 3. If the students do well on their final exams, I'll be happy. Yes, I will be happy. So there is a chance you will do well on your final exams. Then, I'll be happy if the students do well on their final exams. So again, if is in the middle, you don't have a comma. Let's look here. Focus on form. If plus subject plus present tense, subject, will, verb. If we have face-to-face class in the winter or spring, and there's a chance we might have face-to-face class, the teachers and students will be happy. Remember, you need the be there before you have an adjective. They will be happy. Will plus a verb. Your verb is be. The teachers and students will be happy if we have face-to-face class in the winter or spring. Number 2. Now, number 2 means it's called unreal if because what you say after if is impossible. If you lived on this island, what would you do? The truth is that you don't live on this island. None of us live on this island, right? Maybe you're in Thailand or Taiwan and live on a small island there. I think there are islands near Taiwan, islands near Thailand, but I don't think you live on the island. So then I have to say would. And past tense. If I lived on the island, I would relax, I would go swimming, I would eat coconuts. So the grammar is if, past tense, the results clause, would, base form. Not would to relax, no. Would relaxing, no. I would relax. If we studied, number 1, if we studied face-to-face, you would make friends. We are not studying face-to-face, so I'm just imagining if we studied face-to-face. You would make friends if we studied face-to-face. If I start with the if clause, comma, then the result clause. Result clause, if clause, no comma. If my son had $10,000, he would move to Seattle tomorrow. My son doesn't have $10,000. He has maybe $2,000. He wants to move back to Seattle, so now he's looking for a job. But I think if he had $10,000, he would go down to Seattle now. But he doesn't have $10,000. So if, had, would, base form. My son would move to Seattle tomorrow if he had $10,000. Okay. So the if clause, if we had face-to-face class, and the result clause, the students and the teachers and students would be happy. Okay. Then finally, What happens when I have a past tense conditional? In that case, you always say if I had, if you had, if she had, if they had, if he had, if it had, plus the past participle. So what you do after if changes. It's about your past. So for example, I didn't study nursing. If I had studied nursing, I would be a nurse now. In this case, if I had means I'm talking about 10 years ago or 30 years ago. For me, it would be, oh my God, 40 years ago. So 40 years ago, if I had studied nursing, I would be a nurse now. So this is the past tense conditional, but the result can be the present tense of now. So if I had studied nursing 10 years ago, I would be a nurse now. If I had studied nursing 10 years ago, I would have married a doctor. So I can have a past tense conditional, past tense result, past tense conditional, present tense result. So when I talk about the present tense result, it's the same as the ones we did here. I would be, I would go, I would buy, I would study, I would eat. Okay? But I have to say now here. Then this is in the past. If I had studied nursing, there you go, past tense modal with have, and we studied that last week. I would have married a doctor. Maybe, don't know. So the truth is, I became a teacher, but if I hadn't become a teacher, I wouldn't have met you. I met you a little bit online, but I wouldn't have met you or helped you if I hadn't become a teacher. So would not have. If I hadn't become a teacher, I wouldn't work at Shoreline. That means now. Now I wouldn't work at Shoreline if I hadn't become a teacher when I was young. So I wrote down the formula here. If subject had past participle, comma, subject would plus verb or would have plus the past participle. So let's look at it here. If we had had face-to-face class in June, I would know you better now. This first had is for past tense if. The second had is have face-to-face. That's the main verb. Just like here, if I had, the verb is studied, hadn't become. The had just means past tense and then you need a verb. Well, if my verb is have, I have to say if we had had. It's had because the verb is have face-to-face class in June. Have face-to-face class in June. So if we had had face-to-face class in June, I would know you better now. I would know you better now if we had had face-to-face class in June. If you and I had met a year ago, again, just means past tense. That's the verb. Past tense, that's the verb. If you and I had met a year ago, we would have been happy. That's nice. Would have is past tense. Past participle is been, and that's the adjective happy. So now what I want you to do is I want you to write down each of these sentences. Just copy it on paper. Then go to the next page and just study it for 5 minutes. And then you will go ahead and take your test. Okay, bye.